Hi, it's Coach Joe Lucas, and welcome to the Magellan Network Show. My goal inside of this communication, this show, is to share with you my nearly 30 years of coaching some of the most successful financial advisors in North America. We're going to be talking about strategies, syntaxes. We're going to be bringing guests on from time to time, and I'm going to share with you what's working now. So think of this show as sort of like a little one-on-one kind of mini coaching cast, if you like, where we're going to be going in depth from time to time on strategies to help you grow your business, get more effective, become more efficient, find balance in your time management, grow your business, and quite frankly, whatever else is going on in the world today. So before we get to today's episode, I'd love for you to do a couple things for me. Number one, make sure that if you're watching this on YouTube, that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're doing the audio, make sure that you give us a review on whether Spotify or Apple. We'd really appreciate that. And quite frankly, that does help. It does matter when you rate things and like things and subscribe to things. It helps us get the word out to more of the industry. And lastly, I have a very special gift for you. Go to MagellanNetwork.net, so one word, MagellanNetwork.net, and I have for you a complimentary membership, 100% gratis, where you can tap into about between 50 and 75 hours of masterclasses, forms, tools, templates, and strategies. So please go ahead and make sure you go get that claimed, smash the like button and subscribe. And please go ahead and leave us a review on whatever podcasting platform you're on. And now, let's get to this week's episode. Hi, it's Coach Joe Lucas, and welcome to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Literally less than 48 hours ago, as I'm recording this, I just got back from Redondo Beach in the greater Los Angeles area, where I spent 3 very powerful days in, I don't want to call it a mastermind. I want to call it a training program. I call it some kind of unique hybrid sort of an encounter type thing with one of my heroes in business, Mr. Jay Abraham. And the reason why I decided to go spend 3 days with Jay is I've been following his work for nearly 3 decades. Met him through my association with Tony Robbins back in the early 90s. And, he is probably one of the smartest individuals that I've listened to, watched, and have shared a room with in terms of professionally. So the question is, why do I do this? I've been doing this for 30 years. I've got a very successful business, actually 2 successful businesses. And why would I stroke a check for $25,000? Actually, when the check, I have to wire it and then fly and spend the time. So, let's say it's all in for $30K. Why would I invest $30K in myself and what I do? Because that's what you're supposed to do. And this is something I want you to ask yourselves. When I'll sit with somebody, and I've had this policy for decades, and it serves me really well. And look, most conversations don't lead to anything, but I like meeting people. I like doing it this way. So any advisor can have 30 minutes of my time. You come in, you go to my website, book it, and we'll zoom it up, right? And so one of the questions I always ask is, how much money do you invest in yourself? And I always get back to, well, they say, what do you mean? I say, well, how much do you invest in yourself for personal training, seminars, professional coaching, masterminds, seminars, all the above? A, what do you invest? And B, do you have a budget? And if so, how do you determine that budget? And most advisors will sit there and say, no, or at best it's haphazard, right? And I always ask myself, why is that the case? Now, the people that I work with, my personal clients, if you were to put them in a conference, you would say, why does this person have a coach? They're super successful. And I'm not going to say that's why they're successful, but they understand investing / reinvesting in themselves. And the reason why I'm bringing this up today in this episode is, with everything going on in the markets and our economy and the industry, it's really easy. It's really easy to sit there and have the conversation with yourself saying, oh, my AUM's down, That means my advisory fees are going to be down. That means we should look at making some, budget adjustments, right? And normally, I found this to be very true in 08, 09. I haven't seen it to be true now, I guess because I train my clients. But I think a lot of advisors will sit there and say, well, let's cut the coaching out. That's an expense, right? Oh, the personal development, that's an expense. Notice I use the word investment to start our conversation today. The reason why I do it, number one, I believe in reinvesting back in yourself. Number two, I am the product at the end of the day. And third, I have a budget. So it's like, I don't say spend it or lose it, or, use it or lose it, but I've got a 6-figure budget. It's grown to that over the years. I do a certain percentage of top line. And that's the beauty of setting up a situation like that when you say, okay, this year, I'm going to take 10% or 5% or 8% or 15%, but have a game plan. And I'm going to use this as a line item in my budget, and I'm going to use it to make me better. Okay? When you have that, now you may say, I don't know what I'm going to use it for. I'm not clear. Like, you don't need to have every dollar allocated. But when you have a budget like that, when opportunities show up, you can sit there and go, hey, you know what? I want to do this. Okay, here's the investment, $25K. Okay, I didn't even get any points. I had to go wire the money, right? But it made the decision very easy because I had it in the budget and it's part of my mindset. And what I will tell you is every time I go, and by the way, this is always a good idea, whenever you go to something, seminar or one day, a mastermind, whatever you got going on, don't try to get 15 things or 100 things, because first of all, studies have shown most human beings will not act on over 95% of them. So look for the 1 or 2 things that are going to be very meaningful for you. So for me, I went into this and I'll give you guys a framework so you can kind of understand what went into this. So after I was quote unquote accepted, which is code for wire the money, I had to fill out literally an 87-page questionnaire. I think the questionnaire literally took me as long as the damn 3 days in the room. And I could have made the argument that even if I never went to California, I was in Redondo Beach, even if I didn't take the trip, the fact that the pre-work was worth $25K to me. Because I saw glaring gaps in what we're doing here. And I said, okay, this is good. I really like this. And then you go sit in a room and just to give you a flavor, there are people from India, Europe, Japan, like people flew all over the world to come do this thing. It's pretty cool. And it wasn't a big group. There was only 12 primary seats. You were allowed to bring a second chair like your number 2. I brought my wife, my business partner. I think there was 18 of us. Over 3 days. So you get a lot of deep dives. And I've always kind of prided myself on being good at what I do in terms of the business. And I was exposed. I was using a lot of assumptions. My positioning was wrong. Jay flat out told me for what I bring to the table and the results I produce, I don't charge nearly enough. And it was just fascinating to have somebody else look at your business. And now I've gone to other seminars and I've done the masterminds, like I've done other things, so it's not like this is my first time. But this is the first time I really sat down and really exposed my business. Because usually it's just training, right? Or mastermind. So to have somebody sit down and say, hey, your value proposition is all features and benefits. Nobody cares about that. Like, oh, that hurt. And it's good medicine. I invested willingly to have this done to myself, right? Here's why. The biggest problem that a lot of advisors have, and only you know if you fit in this category or not, is ego and arrogance. So in other words, I'm good. Oh, I don't need that. I'm good, man. I'm good. I did coach a couple of years ago. It was really good. Or I did this practice management. It was really good. And so like all of a sudden, well, I went to the gym, so I'm good. I don't need to go back to the gym for the rest of my life, right? Or I went to the dentist. I don't need to go back for the rest of my life. And that is a very dangerous belief set. You must constantly be reinvesting back in yourself. Now, this is not a pitch to come work with me. I'm just saying whoever you're going to work with them. If you've been eyeballing a coach or eyeballing a coaching program, go do it. You'll get 1 or 2 things out of it. Do it. Oh, I'm thinking about going to this workshop. Do it. Well, I'm thinking about going to Schwab Impact. Do it. And I don't care if you're struggling or you got a top line of $10 million. It doesn't matter to me. The more encounters you have, the more experiences you have, the more relationships you build, the better you're going to get at this. Now, what is this? the better you're going to get at you. And, I've had 3 in the last 5 years. 5 years. I've had 3 transformative breakthroughs. Hi, Coach Joe Lukacs here, and I'm just breaking here for a moment just to do a couple quick reminders. Number one, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel or our podcast. In addition, please leave a comment or a review. Those things really, really matter. And share this episode with 3 of your colleagues inside the financial services space. And lastly, make sure that you go ahead and claim your free membership inside of Magellan Network. Now back to this week's episode. One of them was in Huntington Beach. When I went for a 2-day marketing training, internet marketing, because I wanted to learn about internet marketing. And I came away with one of the most powerful personal development experiences I've ever had. That was in Huntington Beach, California. And that was, I think, in May, 5 years ago, as a matter of fact. And then in August, I ended up in Dana Point. And I had this other breakthrough. It was like a continuation of the first one. And then I spent 3 days with Jay in Redondo Beach. And I got crystallized on things. I thought it was solid. You don't know what the next level solid is to experience it. And I want everyone to have that in their life. It doesn't have to be through me. But go find that resource, go find that process, that program, that entity, whatever you want to call it, and get your breakthroughs. In fact, the name of the program is Breakthrough at the Beach. It's actually more like a marina, but that's neither here nor there. And it was just really good for me because, like you said, you can see. Remember, we all have our own point of view. We all have these massive blind spots or schisms, if you will, where you just don't see something if you're not looking for it. You don't know what to look for, therefore, how can you see it? Right? Like if I said to you right now, the last time you were in your car and you drove somewhere, maybe it was even today, right? How many white pickup trucks did you see? I don't know. Why? Because you weren't looking for them. You didn't set out to look. But if you had someone in the car seat next to you, and they say, "Hey man, your job is to find me all the white pickup trucks and count them up." Now you're looking for them. You'll see them. They'll be noticeable. Having an outsider take a look at your business, what you're doing, how things are, and I learned really a couple things. And by the way, these are going to be applicable to you. So we're not going to spend a ton of time today on this episode, but I want to share this with you guys. And these are in no particular order. Number one is, how are you positioned into your core market? So what's your positioning? Right? And I'll give you my example, right? Because hopefully this will help you kind of, draw your own conclusion. So I've always positioned myself as one of the most experienced coaches in the industry. Almost 30 years, or 50, probably now closer to 60,000 interview sessions and all that. And that's nice. That means I've been at something a very, very long time. And then, I got Q&A'd. Well, Joe, why did somebody hire you? I said, well, they want this. I said, but quantify it. How do you quantify this stuff, right? If I ask you right now, why does the client hire you? And you're going to tell me. And they want peace of mind, they want a plan, they want to relate, whatever it is. How do you quantify it? All right? And I don't mean, because some of you are going to go to, well, we don't want to talk about return. I'm not talking about return. Take return off the table. How do you quantify it? See, that's interesting, isn't it? Because what I learned, and this is kind of my thing, he goes, and this is kind of everybody gets some consulting time with him. And he's like, Joe, you're positioned like a lot of other coaches are. Yeah, we do a good job. We do this, our specialty, blah, blah. I said, but, you're so unique because you've been at this for so long. And so literally, what I did on a walk and talk one morning, I really sat down and tried to figure this out. And I know these are conservative, but I want to give you my position. You can go to my website now. You can go to my LinkedIn profile and you'll see the positioning. So in nearly 30 years, I've done over 2,500 engagements. That I know because I kind of track that stuff, right? And this is going to sound even crazier to you guys. But at my peak, in terms of number of personal clients, let me put that qualifier in there, from, I would say, summer of 2000 to about 2008. This is where I almost retired, actually. I had 200 personal clients. And I was doing literally maybe, and some of those were a couple times a month. So I would literally do 100 sessions of 30 minutes every week. That's 50 hours. That's 10 hours a day, Monday through Friday. And that's why I rolled. I did that. I did that for many years. And like I said, and then 2007 came, or excuse me, 2008. And I was like, it literally almost killed me. And I was like, I'm going to do something else. And that was when I just kind of blew my business up and started again. This time, I think 150 clients. So I got a little smarter, right? So, fast forward down to like under 70 now, personal clients. But I started figuring all that out. And here's kind of some quick math. And I can justify the numbers. And it blew me away because I really sat down. I was on a walk. And I started kind of math in my head. And I got home. Then I got into my hotel room and I put it to paper. So to make it long story short, we've gone from our positioning of, most experienced coach, 6,000, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? So in my 30-year career, I felt my clients raise an additional $50 billion, $50 billion of assets. That's pretty impressive. That's people I've said that to. That has resulted in over $500 million plus of recurring revenue. That's pretty good, right? But I never saw it. Like, never, I could have literally, if I never went to that event, I would never have had that shift. Wouldn't have seen it. Had a schism. Wasn't looking for it. Wasn't looking at it the right way. And the reason why I'm telling you guys this is, let's face it, we're the advisor, we're the CEO, we're the founder, we're the chief marketing officer, we're the branding expert in most cases. And look, I refer my clients to marketing and branding experts. I do. So there's no shade to be thrown here. But what I realized is they all work in the industry. So they all you kind of get in that, well, I'll call that linear thinking versus exponential thinking. And I guess that's good for probably 90% of the time. But if let's say I went to somebody and they just did coaches. Oh, I'm a branding expert for coaches. I would never have gotten that answer. Because those questions would never been posed to me. Like, what makes you better? What's unique? Tell me about your program. Like all the stuff that everybody hears. Who cares? And it's been really profound. And granted, it's like this, like we got a whole new rebrand to do, but we just started it. We're getting more people now hooking up with us, wanting trials. It's been very interesting to see very, very short term how with the positioning shift. So why am I still harping on this? You got to look at how you're positioned to your clients and to your marketplace, and ask yourself: is this the optimal way? Is this the best way? Is this going to yield me, or does this sound like everybody else, plus or minus a little bit? And I'm not saying that you can sit there and say, well, that's great, but Joe, compliance, it's that C word, right? Compliance, we can't do this. I understand that in some cases. I'm not arguing with that. But what I am going to say is figure something out to elevate your positioning, right? And by the way, positioning does not have to be just what's on your website. It's also in your mind. I walked in from that walk and talk, sat down, got the iPhone out, and got the legal pad out, started to do some math. And I was astonished, absolutely astonished. And right then and there, I felt a shift to who I was. That was my epiphany. And that was so powerful. I encourage each and every one of you. Again, I'm not asking you, I may not be the answer for you. I understand that. But go find somebody or someone or some organization or some process that you can go away. Transformations do not happen in your day-to-day environment. Go somewhere with someone or a group of someones and look for transformation. Not just, I hope I get one idea, or let's get one or two ideas. I mean, that's okay. Nothing wrong. That's success. And by the way, I didn't go in there saying I didn't need this. I wanted some distinctions. I want to get a little bit better. I wanted somebody to kind of pick my business apart. I think there's a tremendous value in having somebody come in and tear your stuff apart and tear you apart a little bit with respect. And you get these things. So all I'm asking you to do, all I'm encouraging you to do, is go find some place to do that. Go find somebody to do it with. Because if you really want to elevate your game, look, if you're watching me or listening to me, you're not here because I'm going to retire in 2 years and, I got nothing better to do since Joe beats CNBC, so I guess we'll watch him today. That's not why you're here. At least I hope not. If you think in terms of just a little bit better, then you'll be a little bit better. If you think about transformational concepts, then you'll transform it. Again, you don't know when it's going to show up. I can tell you, I'm in California 3 times the last 5 years. Throw a pandemic in between. It's altered the course of my business, my life, everything. But they're not going to come to you. You have to go seek them. Okay? So that's what I have for you on this episode. Thanks for watching this and listening to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Have a great week, and we'll see you in 7 days. Thank you for watching or listening to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Hey, if any of this resonated with you, I invite you to come to MagellanNetwork.net, and we have a powerful group coaching community of like-minded advisors. Come in for a trial. You and I will have a one-on-one conversation. Let's see if I can help elevate your game both personally and professionally.